Good evening. We welcome you here to our regular session of our West Valley City Council meeting. We call our meeting to order. We note that we have a full quorum present. All council members are here. Tonight, for our opening ceremony, I have invited, and I hope I get it correctly, Salman, and I've just lost my place, there it is, Masood, who is the president of the Islamic Society of Greater Salt Lake. I had the great opportunity to recently meet with the Islamic Society and the Interfaith Council, where I participated with them on a discussion on civility and working together as groups, and so I invited Mr. Masood to come tonight for our opening ceremony. He represents a large group of Muslims here in Utah, and they, as you know, have a mosque. I assume that's what you refer to it as, a mosque on the edge of our city there, and they are currently improving that area and just doing wonderful things there. So Mr. Masood is a physician working with, I believe, a chief of pediatric anesthesia at Shriners Hospital for Children. And then he's also an associate professor at the University of Utah. With that, Mr. Masood, we invite you to come up to the microphone.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. It's a privilege for me. I would like to recite the opening chapter of the Quran. It is the most read chapter. It's only got 7 lines. There are 114 chapters. They're all of different varying lengths. And I will recite the Arabic, which would only take a minute. And then I will give you the explanation and try and explain how we perform our prayer. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. These are the opening and the most read verse in prayer for Muslim. It is something just like the Lord's Prayer, or how our Catholic brothers would say the Hail Mary. It's a similar in the I would say commonality of deliverance. So I will try and give you the gestures. A lot of you have seen that perhaps on the TV, and also some have visited the mosque, how we stand. When we stand for prayer, we make this gesture and we say certain words. So this gesture means basically I am going to be in front of my Creator and I leave the world behind me. So this is what this gesture means. And then we hold our hand like this, and when we say this gesture, we say Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar in the media has been depicted as a battle cry. That's not what it is. Allahu Akbar means God is great. And the applied meaning is I am not. So this makes you humble because you are trying to control your ego. And your posture is very humble. You hold your hand like that. So that means you're standing like a servant or like a slave in front of your Creator. And then you start, the first line says, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. I am in front of the Creator of this universe. All praise and thanks be to Him. So these are the literal meaning, but there is an applied meaning that my last prayer was in the afternoon since we pray 5 times a day. And between the afternoon and the evening, what have I done under this verse? So I see myself like a janitor in front of my supervisor with my clipboard, and I'm checking off things. So Alhamdulillah means, did I keep my Creator as number one? Or was my job number one? Or was my business number one? So who did I listen to between the last few hours since I was last in His presence? The next line says, Ar-Rahman. Ar-Rahman is the sustainer of all species. So I ask myself, and I'm checking on that clipboard again, did I provide the rights of my neighbor? Did I look after my people in my country, my state? Did I look after the birds, the animals, the plants, the environment? So they all come under Rahman. And I'm saying to myself, did I pay their due? The next word is Ar-Rahim. Rahim comes from the womb. So I again check myself, look at my clipboard and say, how did I treat my parents? How did I treat my children, my siblings, my relations? So then I come to the next verse, Malik Yawmiddin. He's the sovereign, He's the Lord of the Day of Judgment. Now, why do we keep repeating that? Because we know that. But why repeating? So what I'm saying to myself is, if somebody has slighted me, if somebody has been rude to me, if somebody has hurt me, even something trivial like somebody blew the horn at me when I wasn't at fault. So I bring that anger. But now I'm saying, I'm putting in the inbox of the Creator, because He's the Lord of the Day of Judgment. And I'm cleaning my heart of any pain, anger, or revenge. And so these are how you sort of go through this prayer, but you are constantly evaluating your action between the last prayer and this prayer. And then you ask, you say, I seek your help, and I am the one who is praying in front of you. I humble myself. And take me on the path of those who you bestowed grace. So we are looking at all the prophets and the men and women the Creator had bestowed the grace. And I'm asking, take me on that path, and not those who have incurred the anger. So this is how you finish your prayer, and then we go in the prostration mode. In a congregational prayer, it takes about 10 seconds. But when you're by yourself, you can spend half an hour. You can talk to your Creator now, not as the servant, but as a beloved. And you tell Him, how was your day? How things went? What are my worries? What are my aspirations? Help me. And now you are one-on-one, and this is how close you are when you are in the prostration mode. And then you sit up and you finish your prayer, and you look on the right and say, Assalamu alaikum. Then you look on the left and say, Assalamu alaikum. Basically what you're saying, now I'm back interaction with the world, and I bring you peace. And this is how we end our prayer. So hopefully I'm staying within my time period. But I appreciate this privilege again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming, and that was very nice and helpful to understand. And the Islamic Society is a great addition to our city, and just helped to beautify an area of our city, and are continuing to do so. Thank you very much. Now, I don't know if I dare break tradition and not do a pledge of allegiance, even though it was President's Day yesterday. But I thought that that was very appropriate and an opportunity to have them represented here for the great things that they're doing in our city. Thank you very much for coming. Next we go to special recognitions, and I don't see any scout troops. After having a whole bunch here at once, I guess they aren't taking the rest of the month off. Approval of minutes. We go to the council.
Mayor, move for approval of the minutes.
Councilman Vincent has the motion to approve the minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Lang is a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passed unanimously. The minutes are approved. We now go to our public comment period. We do have one individual who signed up to speak. We would invite Joanne Jacobs to come forward and take up to 5 minutes.
Okay, I'm Joanne Jacobs. I just had on the ordinance in the last meeting at 15-07, amending the zoning for the property out at 3700 South and 6400 West, that area. Being a realtor, I love the idea of a new neighborhood, especially the higher end homes where I like to play in. But one thing to consider in that specific location is the roads out there aren't really built to handle another 100 to 200 cars in that specific area. Another thing I think that some research that might go into that is we're reaching a stage where our baby boomers are starting to retire, sell off their properties, go someplace warmer. But we do have high immigration here. So is our immigration versus our boomer retirement going to support, continually building these neighborhoods out in West Valley, especially where we are really starting to lose agricultural land, and we're starting to reach a tipping point on the planet where we don't have enough land to feed the people that we have to feed. So, there's just some considerations to go into thinking about this proposal that's outside of the box that everybody's looking into that I thought should be brought up. So, and I love Opposition Gardens. I got married there. I don't know that we need another strip mall out in that area, but it's a beautiful piece of property, and I think that I can see why they would want to do what they'd want to do where they're at. But I seriously like to see that restricted too, though.
Thank you very much. With that then, that we only had the one individual sign up. Sherry. Then to the city manager for comments.
I have none this evening, sir. I'm good.
Thank you very much. Then to the council for any comments. Seeing none, we'll move on to the balance of our agenda. We have resolution 15-28. This is to improve, and we note that these are items that we have discussed last week in our study meeting. So this will be the second and final time, assuming they pass, that we visit them. So resolution 15-28, interlocal agreement with the Salt Lake County Clerk Elections Division and our city for conducting the city's 2015 primary and general municipal elections. And we have a cap on that. If, depending upon the number of polling places, etc., that are set up, that could be less. So that is just simply the, let's see, every 2-year process that we go through for our elections. We're just keeping the same format standard as we've done in the past. With that then, to the council. Any comments or action?
Mayor, I'll move approval of resolution 15-28.
We have a motion to approve resolution 15-28.
Second.
We have a second. So Councilman Rushton and Councilman Young. Any further discussion or comments on this? Councilman Nordfeld.
Thank you. I have a major concern with this motion. The county clerk has given us 2 options to, I guess we have 3 options, but the 2 options that they've provided are to have consolidated polling places or to do all vote by mail. And my main concern is that we have a very low voter turnout. And if we pass this resolution as it's written now, we will not be improving opportunities for people to vote. In fact, we'll be making opportunities less for people to vote because we'll be removing some of the polling places that they're accustomed to voting at. And if we were to approve the other option that the county clerk gave us to go by all vote by mail, the evidence from the history that Cottonwood Heights and West Jordan has with all vote by mail is that we will increase voter turnout. And I think it would be a mistake to not take an opportunity to increase voter turnout. In essence, I think what West Jordan and Cottonwood Heights did is to make voting more accessible to the voters. And the voter turnout that the results that they had, either doubling or tripling their voter turnout, showed that that was the case. And I don't think our voters are that much different than the voters in West Jordan or Cottonwood Heights. And I think that we would see an increased participation by going to all vote by mail. Not only that, it would save us some money. I see it as a win-win that we can't make a mistake if we are increasing the number of voters, the number of people that participate. I understand that almost every other municipality in our county has agreed to go to all mail-in voting because they saw the results from West Jordan and Cottonwood Heights. And in November, when the results come back, if we've gone to consolidated polling places, I think it's bound to show that our voter turnout will be less. And we will look foolish. And I think it's a mistake. So I'll be voting no on this resolution.
Councilman Bueller.
Thank you, and I'd like to voice my support for the motion. I'm not happy with the options that the county's given us. They explicitly state in their proposal that this option would cost nearly $170,000 or this $160,000 to do it the old way that they've always done it would only cost $10,000 more, but they're not offering that to us. However, if we adopt the proposal that is before us, everybody that wants to vote by mail may. Everybody that wants to vote early may. And those that want to still go to the polling place to vote may. I think that it's inevitable that someday we will all be vote by mail. But my preference would be to not do that ahead of the county. Even though the county is offering that, the county itself is not, we don't know, and we couldn't get from the county clerk that in 2016 they're going to conduct their election that way. And so until they do, I don't want to lead out on the county and make it, when it's a city election you vote one way, when it's a national, state, county election you vote a different way. And so my preference is to adopt this contract, and in 2016 or following 2016, if the county goes to all vote by mail, then that's what we would do too.
Councilwoman Lang.
I know for myself, when we have gone to the polling places for the last few years, the option to vote by mail has been given to everyone that votes. And we chose not to because we like to go to the polling place until the last election. And then we said, okay, we'll vote by mail, 3 out of the 4 of us. So we all ended up here on the polling last day anyway with that one person that didn't vote by mail. So some people do have the preference to go to the polling place, do it the traditional way, and where that's still an option, and that's how some people prefer to do it, I would rather wait until there's more evidence that more people want to vote by mail. I spoke to, in the 2 weeks I've had to ask people their preference, 10 out of the 10 that I spoke to, and I promise I did not lead them to this, they all said they preferred having the polling place option as well as the vote by mail option.
Councilman Vincent.
Just one additional item. I agree that eventually this will be the best thing for the city, but to mix, I think, becomes confusing if we do it this way, as Councilman Bueller has suggested. Also, I think the county did indicate that of the cities that don't do mail-in voting, we had the highest percentage of residents that already do. So I think that's an indication that our residents are looking for it, And I think it's certainly the path we ought to go when the county adopts it as well.
Thank you. Councilman Reston?
I'll try not to be redundant, as I agree with colleagues to my right here as far as the reasons to vote for this resolution and to approve the contract with the county clerk as is. However, I do appreciate Councilman Nordfeld's concern about the low voter turnout in our city and really across our state. As far as our state is abysmal as far as comparison with the nation as far as voter turnout. But I don't feel that it's the state, or in this case the city's obligation to try to artificially augment voter turnout with a proposal that's contrary to the norms of regular voting. As Councilmember Vincent had stated that in the county clerk's report that West Valley City has the highest percentage of vote by mail people that have actually asked for a ballot to be sent to them. And so I think that that's good, as well as the other third of our city that likes to vote early, as far as the other third that likes to go to the polls on election day. So I like to try to preserve that. I actually disagree a little bit with Councilmember Vince and Councilmember Bueller as far as, it's the inevitability of vote by mail. I think, in 2000 we saw a radical shift in voting procedures and policies based off of certain elections. And I can foresee a number of equally challenging and questionable legal battles that can ensue when the nation goes more to vote by mail categories. I think that there's equal protection questions that come into it. I think there's ballot integrity questions that come into it. And as far as that, I think the fact that you have to affix a stamp, that the only ballot you get is a ballot that you have to affix a stamp to, smells a lot to me like poll taxes and old Jim Crow laws, to where your ballot has to be fashioned in one way. But if not, you can go stand in line or pay a tax somewhere else. And so I'm hopeful that it doesn't go the direction of mail-in ballots for just the many legal questions and other questions that could potentially come into it. And so, if our goal is not to augment voter turnout, but really our goal as a city council should be to run a fair and equitable election that the most people can participate and exercise their personal responsibility to get out and elect their leaders of the city, that this resolution accomplishes that best.
Councilman Hyun?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to echo all my colleagues here to the same thing that the current resident mentioned. Very much, I believe the people that have preferences, that my experience when I knock from door to door and people, they want to say to me, they told me, they said, I want to do early, and some they want to go to polling, want to do by mail. So I think it's the option for them. I think it's the best option for them. So everyone can participate, the election process.
Thank you. And I think the issue comes down to quite succinctly the fact that we don't want to change back and forth. If they had offered us an option where the general elections next year, not this year, the municipal, but the general elections would also be all done by mail-in ballot, then it would be less confusing. But since that option was not presented, if we go to mail-in ballot, then we go back to the polls, then we go back to the mail-in, back to the polls for some period of time, that seems to not meet the goal of trying to be consistent. And although I like the polling method, I have been converted to voting by mail. And I think it's an issue of just trying to keep some consistency there so our residents know what to do. Things will change perhaps, and I don't know which way they'll change, but I understand the council's concept of trying to bring consistency there. Since I'm a CPA man, I love consistency, one of our fundamental rules. But Councilman Nordfeld brings up some great issues, and we'll evaluate that again in this election and take careful note of the turnout and how those things work in comparison with other cities, and encourage the county, who have a great power in driving this, to come up with a consistent solution that is going to work over a period of time without having to switch back and forth. With that, any further, well, let's see, everyone's had a comment, except Mr. Pyle.
I have no comment, sir.
With that then, seeing no further comments, then we have the motion before us. All in favor of approving the resolution 15-28, an interlocal agreement with the county for elections, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.
No.
Motion passes 6-1. The clerk has recorded that. Is aware of that, okay. 7B, 15-29 resolution to accept a public sidewalk easement. This would be out here on the corner, or what I refer to as the corner where the Starbucks building, I don't know the exact name of that. I guess it's officially 3527 Associates, for improving the sidewalk there. That was delayed. There was allowed to be a delay there until the road was 3500 was finished. That extension has now expired and it's time for them to take care of it, so we'll accept a sidewalk easement there for completing that. That is the item that is before us to the council.
Mayor, I'd move for approval of Resolution 15-29.
Councilwoman Lang has a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Councilman Bueller has a second. The motion is properly before us. Any further discussion or comments? Seeing none, we'll place it for a vote. All in favor of approving Resolution 15-29, a public sidewalk easement at 2727 West, 3500 South, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. The resolution is approved. Under item number 8 on our agenda, new business, to consider application S13-2014. This was filed by Ivory Homes requesting a final plat approval for the Park Vista subdivision Phase 1. This is at 3995 South, 7050 West. With that then, simple introduction to the council.
Mayor, I'll move approval of application S13-2014.
Councilman Rushton has the motion before us. Do we have a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Lang has the second. The motion is properly before us. Any further discussion? Councilman Vincent.
Yeah, as I read through the development agreement, I just want to make sure I understand. It says that they will comply with our current ordinances. Does that mean they're on board with the no stucco and the hardy board? And
I know that those conversations have been had with Ivory all the way through this. I believe the answer to that is yes, they are. Is that correct? Yes.
Very good. Now, and I believe that this does not, am I correct in remembering this didn't include the piece right along 4100 South?
Correct.
That's still being worked on. There's just a little piece there from that big tract of land. Yeah. Okay. Further comments? Seeing none, we'll place it for a vote. All in favor of approving application S13-2014, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. The application is approved. We now go to application S22-2014. This was filed by Jeff Scott. This is for final plat approval for a Scott Machinery subdivision at 2245 South Technology Park Way. And by that, I believe that it's being divided into, was it 2 or 3 lots? 3 lots, wasn't it? 2 lots.
3 acres with 2 lots.
Yeah, that's fine, okay. 3 acres, 2 lots, or whatever.
Or I'm sorry, there's 4 acres. Lot 1 will be 3 acres, and then the second lot.
Okay. So, and this is just to get that into more usable parcels, is my understanding. Any further discussion or comment on that, or action?
Mayor, I move for approval of application S-22, 2014.
Councilman Bueller has made the motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Councilman Yoon has the second. Motion is properly forced. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll place it for a vote. All in favor of approving application S-22, 2014 for a final plat approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passed unanimously. The application is approved. I do not believe we have a need for an executive session. I'm not aware of that. Just as a note of information, we are going to adjourn this study meeting, but we recessed our regular meeting, but we recessed our study meeting because we did not complete our work there. So when we adjourn here, we will go back and restart our study meeting and complete our business there. With that then, the final motion for this meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passed unanimously. Our regular council meeting is adjourned. I now call to order again from our recess. Oh, Mr. Pyle?
Mayor, could we maybe have 2, 3, 4, 5-minute break? Jake needs to reset the systems anyway for
Okay.
recording and all that.
So noted. We will start again in 3, 4, 5 minutes.